Slowing down here. Hold on. Oh, there we go. All right. Grasshoppers. This is one of my favorite all-time guests. We don't know each other that well, but this is Kenny Bigbie Jr., former Navy SEAL. Kenny and I met. We first did a podcast when they had that swim across the Hudson. So you people that aren't aware, but they've had about 50 Navy SEALs, the second year in a row, where they to raise money for homeless veterans. They go over to Ellis Island. And it's quite a sight too, man. It's like you get these 50 guys all jacked up. They got a pair of shorts on and a flag draped over their shoulder. Like it was so patriotic. Man, I was fired up. That was good that day, right? That was good.
That was really cool, man. And when I first did that first run and got out of the water, and I saw you at the boat, you actually inspired me, man. And that turned up my drive, man. That was cool.
That was great. That was a great day. It's like such a patriotic thing too. The one Marine when he got up and made that speech before, what was that? But I've heard that before. It was about like my mother's maid of Constantine or something.
Yeah, dude, that fired me up. I got chill bumps, brother.
I saw that. You were right up front. I was watching it, and like he was 5 feet away from me, and he was that hard old Marine too, and he was into it totally. It was good.
He was, man. Those Marines know how to give a pre-battle speech, right?
Yeah, that's great. Great to see you again. I've told people a lot since I met you and that event. One of the, there's so many things that impress me about you, but one of the biggest things for me is that just the way you treat people. I think for me, I look and I see like you're this totally confident man, because of the training you have and the thing you've done. So when you meet like me or other people, I watch you interact with other people, you're really giving themselves you. Like you're not just faking it. You're really putting yourself into the conversation. Is that how you feel?
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I feel like in a synopsis, what I call it is a meritocratic environment. And I feel like that's what the SEAL teams are, but I'm not sure anybody articulated it like that.
Right.
And a meritocratic environment is based on merit, thus meritocratic. And what it's saying is that we're all created equal as human beings. So all of us are equal. It doesn't matter race, color, creed. It gets rid of all of those problems and issues. But we're not all created equal in our abilities, our competencies, and our contributions. Right. But other than that, we're all the same. So it doesn't matter if I was a Navy SEAL or if somebody was the president of the United States, we're on the same plane as human beings. So I'm 100% there as a human being. And I feel fortunate when I meet somebody because I'm willing to learn, and you've got stuff that you have to give me. So I feel like I'm eager to learn from each individual and their experience. So yes, for sure, I'm giving it 100% every time.
It really comes off the way. Like when you have a conversation with people, I notice when I'm talking to you, you're engaged. You're looking at me in the eye. You're listening to me. You're responding. I guess sometimes you meet a lot of people, and maybe it's unfair, right? Maybe they aren't as confident. Like they don't have as much ability. Obviously the training you've had, not just in the SEALs, but obviously a large part of that, but who you are too. Do you think that's how that's developed? I mean, you didn't start off being that way, right? That's something that you kind of learned.
Yeah, I think I do think through martial arts training. Also, I was fortunate enough to have a good background. I had really awesome parents that I have to thank. Then good martial arts training, and then going through the training as a SEAL. All that compounded on top of each other. Joe Rogan kind of talks about that. And he says, you see martial artists or high-level athletes and things like that, but martial artists or people that could take somebody out or something like that, they're real comfortable in their own skin because they're not worried about anything.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe that comes across with martial artists or Navy SEALs and things like that too.
Right. Yeah, you don't have to put on a show to try to prove yourself, right? I mean, you know who you are. You know that if some situation comes up, you can handle it. We were just joking around before the show started too. I posted some videos that people have seen, and this is old hat to this guy here, but we had one of his buddies, a former SEAL. I'll be careful with names, but he had us out to his to a buddy's farm in Pennsylvania, and they set up a little bit of an obstacle course and everything. And he trained us on particularly tactical training that Navy SEALs do. And it was really interesting for me too, like coming from that team background that I had as a player. Everything that we did was all geared around not saving yourself, but your actions were meant to save your teammates. And everybody did that. That was pretty cool. Like he put us through that stuff and like showed us how like when the one guy's moving to get to another position, it's your job to draw fire and save his life. You know, like you're shooting not to protect yourself. In fact, you're drawing the fire to yourself, or at least keep the opponent's head down. But man, I was jacked up when I was doing that. That was so much fun.
And yeah, I did see that clip, man, and I saw my man yelling out orders. In this clip, I say his name here, yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine saying it. If you think it's fine, I am. Yeah, he's a great guy. Will.
Yeah, man, Brown's out there yelling out those orders, man, and you guys are shooting and moving. And the joke I said was that's a different kind of hockey team because what's weird, I literally saw a Marine. I was doing a demonstration of some gun retention for 5.11 actually, and a Marine came up and he said, "Man, it's just not the same when you get out here because people don't move in units, and people like you that have played on elite teams or people that have been in the military, we're used to moving in cohesion with other people. And I think we've lost that as a culture, man. And like I said, we celebrate Independence Day, but really what we need to celebrate is Interdependence Day, where people came together to do something greater than they could ever do as themselves. And we've kind of lost that. I often tell people, people say, well, I did that, I did this, I did this. And it's like, well, man, did you throw the coals in the furnace or whatever it is that allowed your lights to come on? Did you they said, well, I flew myself on vacation, or you piloted the jet? Did you do that? We don't do anything ourselves. If you get in trouble, the firemen come. So we've lost the idea of a team in a lot of aspects as a nation. And it was really cool for you, going back to my original point. You were in a team cohesive environment on the hockey team. Yeah. And then you get that same feeling. It's the exact same mindset and camaraderie that you have on hockey, except now it's just with bullets and whatnot, covering your guy six, passing the ball, passing the responsibility. So how was that for you, man, being able to live that again?
Unbelievable. The juices were flowing. I was so I did not I did not expect to get as fired up as I got fired up. Like at first, I had shot shotguns when I was a kid and then growing up, but nothing of the weapons we were using there. So at first it was a little bit, I gotta be honest, a little bit intimidating at first, right? Because Will was funny. I'll tell you the story is good. Again, you know this stuff, but he starts off by telling us how like he designated 3 people as designated drivers, 3 people to wrap the tourniquets. Yeah. And say, okay, people get shot in training. And I'm thinking, so what did I get myself into? I'm just out here. But it made sense though, right? He was smart for him to prepare in case the worst happened, if somebody got shot. Yeah. So then you start to realize, man, this is a real deal. These are real bullets flying around. Yeah. And I tell you, once we got into it, and you could tell the whole group, none of us knew each other basically, and all of us together. And you could tell as he taught us, and he was good too. Will, he's got the he's passionate, right? And he says, kill that guy. You got to kill him. Like it's not. We're not playing checkers here, right? And so he taught us, and once we got into the drill, like he'd walk it through first, just finger shooting, as he called it. And then we got live with the weapons, and you could tell like the group was into it. Like we became a team. We were cheering each other on. We, the 2 guys went off and did our drill, our evolution, I guess you call it. We'd come back and we're high-fiving, like, because, we wanted to do it right. So it was great. He had some memories that kind of going back to being a team player, but it's just that whole, I can see why. And obviously you guys go through years of training, and I know like every time you guys go on a 6-month deployment, it's like 18 months of preparation for that, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Because like one day for me was like, it was great. You guys are doing it for 18 months. So that was fantastic. It was a good time. Really good.
Yeah, man. I really think that's brilliant because, and I tell people this all the time, man. People say, I say, why do people play sports? And what do you mean? I go, why do people play sports? It's actually reenacted battle. That's at least my take on it. Yeah. So we've become civilized, but humanity's never really quite civilized. You never get rid of that the savage within. So why is there hockey? Why is there football? And then why do people rally behind these teams? And you talk bad about their team, they're almost ready to get in a fist fight, especially on the East Coast. Don't do it over there, right? I think we're simulating battle, and that's why we get so passionate about the sports. It almost goes to another uptick when you actually have guns and you feel like you're in the juice of life and death. Like you said, your juices really get to flowing, man. And that turns you up to a different level.
Yeah, it really does. Like it really, first of all, you know this too. You kind of got to slow yourself down a little bit, right? Do some heavy breathing, big breaths, because you get so wound up, especially if you get in a situation where I know you've done it so many times, but if your gun jams, you gotta ram the cartridge back in there, and pull the rack back and all that kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
At first, you're thinking to yourself, okay, what do I have to do? But that's that training, right, where you've done it over and over, and I think that's it's so much like a part of life too. Like, people, like, I think, and I know you're the same way too. I think that, sometimes we're faced with tough things or tough situations, and you've done the training for whatever it is you want to do. If you want to be a chef, if you want to be a Navy SEAL, a hockey player, a bus driver, whatever, the more that you know that you've done the training, the more confident you are in yourself, right?
Sure. Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
The way the Warriors say it, the more you bleed in training, the less you bleed in battle. And that gives you a confidence. And they say if you train hard, you fight easy, and that's essentially what you're saying. So the harder you train, another one they say in the warrior community, colloquialisms, is the harder you train, the luckier you get. All that lends itself to confidence. You train hard, you fight easy. And another thing I think is, as a civilized culture, especially in the times where things have become almost uncivil, we've forgotten that we literally depend on each other for our livelihood as a nation, as human beings. Like not just a game, that's reenacted warfare. We literally, if we don't depend on each other and learn how to interact and intercommunicate, we don't make it. And I think that that's super important. It takes you to another level of livelihood. And like you talked about in the beginning of the conversation, respect for your fellow man. So I feel like as Americans, we're on the same team, man. And one thing in the SEAL teams is you win and lose as a team. So in the SEAL teams, if one guy wins and say everybody wins and then one guy lost, you all lost. But that's how warfare is. So if this guy messes up, like you said, covering, if I don't cover you properly, and then that bad guy is able to get a hold of you, we all lost. We all lose. Right. But if we win, then we all win together. If we lose, we all lose together. If we keep a hold of that, same thing with hockey or any other sport. If I miss that interception or if the goalie misses, we all got scored on. And I think if we had that more as a nation and as a people, we'd become stronger and we'd have more camaraderie. Like you and I, we barely just met, but man, I feel like you're a brother, man. You know what I mean?
I know. I remember when you first called me brother, and I felt like, okay, should I be calling you brother? Because I'm not I'm not a Navy SEAL. Like, I know, like, when we're on a hockey team and somebody tries to come in and act like treat us the way we treat each other as a team, sometimes you go like, okay, well, you really haven't earned your stripes yet, but you were good. Like, you started calling me brother. And I think I asked you, I said, should I be calling you brother back? Because I'm not a Navy SEAL. And you're like, yeah, all right, we're brother.
But brother from another mother.
Yeah, exactly. But that's, what though, isn't that the truth though? Like, you and I, we barely know each other. You're a black man, I'm a white man, but I just feel like we are brothers. Like, I just don't. And that's what's kind of when I look around, I see some of the race. And obviously, listen, there's no question, right? There's racism in this country. That's a fact. But it's just being able to kind of say to each other, like we want to have the same goals. Like, we want the same. We want the country to be great, right? I mean, that's why you went and fought for your country. You want to have a great and safe country. Yeah. So that's what makes it's kind of sad, right? When you see the stuff that's going on where, we're not focused, not enough people. Like I should back up too. Like, I think this country is a great country. I was born and raised in Canada. I chose to become a citizen of this country. And even as like the country itself, like the Great Lakes, the Rocky Mountains, Grand Canyon, whatever it is, the country is a fantastic country. And there's so many fantastic people, black people, white people, Asian people. It's a shame that we have so much I think to me, it's like the vast majority are fantastic people. It's just that everything you see on TV and social media is all the negative stuff, right?
Yeah. I totally agree with you. And I feel like I was saying, a meritocratic environment. And a meritocratic environment, again, is based on two things. It's based on competency and contribution.
Yeah.
So how does that work? You can't really have a contribution if you don't have a competency. But the root level beneath that is what race? The human race. We're all on the same page. We're all created equal. in our inalienable rights, life, liberty, happiness. We're all equal. Everybody deserves that opportunity. Now, the level of which you reach that is dependent on your competencies and your contribution. Everybody that has a competency is not willing to contribute.
Right.
And everybody that not everybody has a competency. So we're all created equal as human beings, and we need to strive to make it the best possible. The person that's the leader is the person that has the greatest competency or the greatest contribution. And what that does, that transcends race, color, creed, geographic location. None of that matters. We're all part of the human race. And now what are you here to bring to your team of the human race to make it most optimal? And that when people live by that creed, they're part of the same tribe. And I think that's why you and I fit, because I don't think everybody articulates it like that, but I think within you have that meritocratic environment, you know, and on that hockey team, just you as a human being, that's how you ended up where you're at. We're part of the same tribe, and it transcends all those issues. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally. You know, it's just like, you know, there was that Shawnee warrior chief, Tecumseh, is an old poem, and he wrote that one poem where he talked about beautifying the life or beautifying the world that you're in. You know, it sounds kind of weird at first, you know, like men talking like I'm going to beautify my you start to it happens in so many ways, right? It's like how I treat you, how you treat me. Little things like, you know, you're walking down if you're walking on a park someplace and there's garbage on the ground, you know, pick it up and put it in the garbage can. You know, it's like really beautify. I think you're the same way when you act like that towards other people or to the world that you live in. I think you become better and stronger yourself, right? It's almost like the more you're giving to the world and everybody else, the stronger you become yourself, right?
Yeah. And we have a saying in the SEAL teams, to agree with you, we're only as strong as our weakest link. So, and individual skills make team skills. And literally what you're saying, we don't call it, are you a Navy SEAL? We say, are you a team guy? It's all based about teamwork. No individual Navy SEAL could do any of that stuff. Only the team could do it, relying on each other. And you have strong moments and strong areas and weak moments. And we all come together, and we're only as strong as our weakest link. Therefore, individual skills, another saying we have, individual skills make team skills. So we all have to be the best individual we can be, not so that we can claim independence from each other, but so that we can take our individual competencies and make a greater contribution to the team that could do something much better than any of us could do by ourselves. And I when I met you, that's just the vibe I got out of the gate. And I'm like, dude, I love this dude. That's why I said I hopped out the water and you were there, and you're so patriotic. You just want to make a win for the team. That's just your nature. I saw you and I'm like, brother, we got to win this thing. You know, it fires you up when your man to your right is trying to win. You're like, I can't let him down. And you get that feeling when you're out there shooting. Yeah.
That was cool. Like, that's true with you and I. It was just that I think we just realized that we're the same people, right? It's
yeah.
So tell me about you. You're teaching Taekwondo now?
Oh, Muay Thai, and I did do Taekwondo, but I had a long, extensive background in Taekwondo, now Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and the Filipino martial arts, blades and sticks and all that kind of stuff.
So you're teaching. You have your own place there where you teach that.
Yeah, right? Yep, right there.
Do you do some life coaching too, along with that?
I do. I call it elite achievement coaching. I do.
Wow, that's very cool. So the stuff we're talking about now is a lot of the stuff that you're teaching to your students?
Oh, yeah, all day. So like we said, the whole mindset, the whole lifestyle. I call it being elite. And like one Navy SEAL said, you don't have to be the best, but you can never fail to be your best.
Right.
And if you want to be the best, the pathway is the same. You just have to be your best. So everybody should just be aiming to fulfill their best potential. And everything, we're a performance-based environment in my martial arts academy. You have to give your best performance to get the greatest quality of life. That's where you find the most fulfillment, and when you contribute to others achieving the greatest quality of life. So that whole thing summed up. What I like to say is I'm bringing elite within reach, how to become your best self, because people, they see Navy SEALs and they're like, oh, I could never do that. And when I say bringing elite within reach, I'm talking about the mindsets, the colloquialisms, the everyday walk of life any man can do. That has nothing to do with the trident. It's the character and the mindset. Every person can do that. And then we can bring elite within reach, which means to be your best self.
That's cool.
The mindset we preach.
I like that. Elite within reach, right? So people sometimes get intimidated, right? They think I can't be like Kenny or I can't be like Tom, you know.
Yeah.
We don't want you to be like that. We just want you to, like one of the Navy SEALs in the swim got talking. I wish I remember his name. Great guy. He said that he writes himself a 24-hour contract every day. And that deal is he's going to be better. He's going to make himself better than he was the day before. And I thought that was cool. I've used that. It's fantastic because that's really what you're doing. You're waking up that morning, you're making an agreement to yourself. I'm going to get better today than I was yesterday, right? And if you keep on doing that, and that's the truth. You know, as much as like somebody, let's say that's overweight or something like that, you know, and we're in shape, like, so I can't be like you guys. Well, but the reality is you can be like somebody else, right? Like it isn't going to happen overnight. There's a whole, like I tell people all the time, I think sometimes we get intimidated by things, right? If there's this big, huge, daunting task in front of us, we think, oh God, I'm never going to get that done. But I've learned from you guys, and now looking back at my life, I guess it was passed on to me, that you don't look at the big daunting task. You look at that next small task in front of you and just complete that task, right? Then once you're that one done, you move on, right?
You're so right, man. I don't know if we talked about it on the last one. I liken it to the Zodiac boat. You've seen those Zodiac boats you read on, those rubber boats? Yeah. And imagine if that Zodiac, the story of the Zodiac, imagine if it were just one rubber unit. And if it got poked or plunged, the whole thing would sink. But it has separate compartments. Now, why is that important? If you poke one area, it won't sink. So that is how you deal with problems and challenges. You break them down into compartments. You compartmentalize the challenge. When you break things down into compartments, the water, that overwhelming water can't flood you. You stay on top of it and you can ride that wave, even though the water is challenging. It becomes something that you surf instead of something that you drown in. When you compartmentalize it, it increases something called self-efficacy, which is your ability to believe that you can solve a problem. So when something's too big and your brain goes, that's too big, it's a big tiger that's going to eat you, you go, I can't handle the tiger, run away from the problem. If you took that tiger and made it into 3 house kittens, you could take on 3 house cats, man, no problem. Now your brain takes its resources and puts them all online. So if it believes that the problem's too big, it takes your resources offline. It says move away. If it believes it's something it can conquer, then it puts all your resources online and it runs straight at it. So if you take that same problem, the story of the Zodiac, and compartmentalize it, you don't drown in the problem, you surf the problem and you go towards the target.
Very cool. That's excellent. It's funny too, like we're talking, and you may start off not having that ability or having as much ability as somebody else to operate that way. But I find myself now, I was in lifting weights this morning and I wanted to do a set of 12. Yeah. I was going up in weight all the time, like 5 sets of 12, add more weight on all the time. Yeah. So the last set, I got to like 6 reps, and I think, oh man, this is a tough one to do. And it's funny because automatically my mind went to, like, don't worry about this next 6 reps you've got to do. Worry about the next rep you've got to do. Then once you complete that rep, you do the next rep. And then all of a sudden you've done your 12 reps, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I find myself like more, the more I've gotten into this and really thought about my thought process and how I'm doing things, I realize that it just kicks in right away, right? There's no failing. There's no thought of quitting. It's like, no, okay, how am I going to solve this problem? How am I going to get through this?
Yeah. Right. Have you always had that within your nature? Has that been something subconscious that was always there for you?
Yeah, you know what, Kenny, that's a great question. Like during this whole 2 or 3 years here where I've really got going in the True Grit life and writing a book and everything, it's really kind of made me look back more and see who I am now. How did I accomplish things in the past, mistakes I made, and really who I am and why I've gotten to where I've gotten. And so I guess I must have had it before because I've always had that drive to keep pushing forward. Like if I made a mistake, I'd keep pushing forward and everything. But I really never understood really what I was doing. I find myself now when I've really had a chance to look at myself and figure out who I am, I am much more aware of those kinds of things, right? I can picture it right now. And I was in the gym this morning and I got to that 6 and again, it just went right to us. Like, okay, just worry about 7. Not just worry about 8, just worry about 9.
Yeah.
How about you? Has that developed for you or you think you started off with that or?
Yeah, I was fortunate. It's been enhanced and improved by great men that I've been around, such as yourselves and environments I've been in, martial arts. And like I said, I was fortunate to have great parents, but it's been greatly enhanced on because of the pursuit. So I directly sought out to pursue the most elite mindsets and things like that. So as a result, those things were kind of inherited because I pursued them. I don't think I was totally innately like that, but there was an innate drive, like in my pursuit to get that mindset. I was willing to do whatever. So I ended up doing those things. And I think like you, I'm just now, it's weird. I'm just now beginning to fully consciously be able to articulate it. And I think that's what you're doing. You're like, you're having a what they call a satori and a moment of awakening about your own mindset that you're now able to relay it to other people is what it seems like.
That's true. And you know, and being like that too, sometimes people need to understand you may have to go it alone sometimes. Not everybody's going to get that mentality. And that's fine. Maybe they don't totally understand you, right? Like I've got some former teammates that haven't kept themselves in shape and stuff like that. And they see the stuff that I do. And they're happy for me and everything. It's just that, you know, it kind of separates you from the crowd. Like your personality, and this is a great thing, you're not just like everybody else, right? You're not intentionally trying to be different. It's just that you've got motivation to you, the stuff that you've learned from all your life experiences. So
that's so true, man. I literally said that the other day. And that's what's so cool about meeting people like you, going on that swim, is that sometimes because when you aim to aim for your best, you end up on that path by yourself. But it was cool when you get around a bunch of dudes like that. It's like, oh, that's really cool, man. This guy, you're firing me up. I'm like, you know, it's really, really cool, man.
Yeah, we're used to trying to get other people fired up, and all of a sudden you meet people that are like, they're giving it back to you, right? So you know, one of the best things
anymore, you know.
One of the best things. So again, this I want to make sure people know how they can get a hold of you, where you are, and everything. But one of the stories I thought was fantastic. So again, you got to picture this. You got these like 50. It was mainly Navy SEALs, but there were some firefighters and cops and that too. But these guys are just all they got is the tiny little shorts on, no shirts. Most of these guys are totally jacked. So they swam to a barge from Ellis Island, got on the barge, did 100 push-ups, 22 pull-ups, 22 suicides from the military. That was to signify that. So they'd get off the barge, swim to the next barge, do the same thing. Then they swim over to Lower Manhattan. So at that point, again, they've got the flags there. So you got these 50 guys marching through, or jogging through Lower Manhattan with no shirts on, the U.S. flag draped over the shoulders. Man, it was some sight. And then you guys went over to Ground Zero, where the monument is for the towers and everything now. And everybody left you alone. It was just you 50 guys out there kind of reflecting on everything. And there was, I don't know if you knew this or not, but somebody told me there was a rumor that Antifa was heard about this event and was planning on showing up. And I'm thinking to myself, let's get this straight. 50 Navy SEALs with a flagpole in their hand, and then Antifa's going to show up and do something.
Yeah. Brown told me right before we did it, and he was like, Biggs, I got a high ask. And I'm like, what's up? He's like, if you got to handle business, handle some business. You know, he doesn't do martial arts. And Mitch, the other super Jack guy, man, Aquaman. Yeah. He told us, and we're like, all right, brother, you know.
So that was a real scoop that they thought that Antifa, the rumor was Antifa was going to show up.
Yeah, there was a bug in there. There was something flying. So we got that word, man. We were ready.
That's funny. I was looking at that site and I said, if I'm Antifa and I'm walking up to this, I'm thinking, I'm not going. I'm running the other way. That's real.
Maybe pick another day, another crowd.
Yeah, exactly. So what? You're in Indianapolis? Is that where you're based?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And what's the name of your where your classes are then? What's the name of it?
Dragonfly Elite, and it's the whole thing is Dragonfly Martial Arts Academy. But I ended up shifting the culture to Dragonfly Elite because that's really what we're about.
Very cool. Very cool. And can people get a hold of you and do things online as well?
They can. You can get a hold of me in two ways. One way is my name, KennyBigbyJr.com. On that, you can see the full spectrum of what we do. So like I said, we inspire people to bring elite within reach to become their best selves. But we just happen to teach exceptional martial arts. We just happen to teach exceptional tactics like you did the other day. And we just happen to do elite achievement coaching and inspire people through the spoken word. So you can see the full spectrum at KennyBigbyJr.com, or you can go to DragonflyElite.com and look to martial arts.
And Kenny, obviously Kenny, Big B is BIGBEE Junior.com, right? To get a hold of you. That's fantastic. Well, listen, I want to do this more often. I know you're busy. The conversations we have, I hope, are really really rewarding for other people too to see. And what I really like that you stressed today, you did a great job of it, that listen, we're not asking anybody to try to be like Kenny or Tom or anybody else. We just want you to get better every day. And that's wherever your level is at right now, that's who you are. There's nothing good or bad about it. Just try to get better all the time. So
yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Man, dude, you got me all fired up today. And I remember something you said the last conversation. I'm listening to you too, brother. Closing the gap, man. So I'm going right from here. I'm going to the range to improve my skills. I hopped out of the water. I got some ammo, made a few calls for a seminar this weekend, and shot over here to you. And now I'm shooting straight out to the range because I got to get better, because I got to close the gap on my next level.
You're a cool dude, man. You're my brother, and you always will be. I'm so glad we met. So great job. All right, bud. Maybe we'll do it next week.
Always a pleasure. Have a great one.
See you, buddy.
Later.